It looks like another NFL insider just confirmed Philadelphia's continued interest in signing another safety, but he threw out a new name that would have me very excited if the Eagles could pull the trigger. Also, Adam Schefter pointed out today that Haason Reddick in Philadelphia, they're still working on a trade, but also talked about the possibility of number 7 holding out of Eagles camp if no deal is made. And Devin White's first press conference only fired me up even more for Nakobe Dean's potential in the new look Fangio defense. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. I think easily the best part of this newly released behind the scenes of Saquon Barkley's first day as an Eagle has to be this clip of him riding in a car and then taking a massive dump on the Giants organization for being the biggest losers in the NFC for a very, very long time.
But my daughter, funny story with her, she knows there's a lot of history in my career with the Eagles. I remember one time when I was with the Giants and we lost to Philly in the playoffs, we went to diner to get some breakfast and there was a bird and she was like, "Daddy, oh no, oh no." And I'm like, "What is it?" She points to the bird and she was like, "It's the Eagles, it's the Eagles." And me and Anna, we just started laughing. And I just put my head down and just kind of start shaking. So when I told her that we're going to be going to Philly, she kind of was just like, "Does that mean we're going to win now?" And I just started smiling again. And I was like, hopefully we can win some more games.
It is pretty crazy that the Giants have had, 2 winning seasons in the past 11 years in the NFL. No wonder Saquon Barkley wanted to get out of there, although I guess he did want a new contract. They just didn't want to pay him. I guess besides running behind a terrible offensive line, Barkley now has a competent quarterback. He's never had one of those. And how about legit weapons on the outside? He's never really had that either. Philadelphia is the perfect home for Saquon Barkley. And give me a thumbs up if you think Saquon is guaranteed to have minimum 1,000 yards this year, at least rushing. I think 1,500 from scrimmage is possible, but 1,000 rushing is where I'm going for number 26. Now, I'll be honest, I've talked a lot about Justin Simmons this week, and you might have noticed he's still a free agent, despite there are being a lot of reports saying the Eagles were interested in him, they wanted to sign him, but the money was a little bit too expensive, and I know he's still a free agent, but just hear me out here. I'm not making this stuff up. Philadelphia continues to be very interested in Justin Simmons, as Adam Caplain now pointed out yesterday. The price just still seems a little bit too high.
Right now, Gardner Johnson's the only sure thing at safety, and if the season started today, it would be Blankenship and Gardner Johnson. But the future for 2025 would be Brown and Gardner Johnson. They need to add now at least one more guy for training camp. I would expect them to add one. It doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. Yes, they have interest in Justin Simmons, but the word around the league was the money was an issue for him. He made a ton of money, by the way. Good player. Obviously, knows Vic Fangio. He played for him when Vic was the head coach of the Broncos. So we'll see. We reported about Justin Blackmon, Blackmon, the safety from the Colts, who's still out there. Kind of surprising. He's probably Julian Blackmon is the best young safety that's out there.
I think Caplain's point that there isn't really a rush here does bode well for Philadelphia. I mean, seriously, Simmons, he's over 30. He might just want to relax and wait patiently until a team offers either the money that he wants or somebody has a serious need or injury at safety. Like, he could wait till training camp, then someone gets hurt, and boom, Justin Simmons is the new starting safety for the Dolphins or the Bears or maybe the Philadelphia Eagles. Still, though, I'm very confident that if he were to just come down on his asking price just to where Philadelphia wants him, he'd be a bird very, very quickly. The other safety that Caplain mentioned in that clip was Colts free agent safety Julian Blackmon, who, yes, is set to visit the Bills today, but still has, quote, several suitors and could be a real possibility for Philadelphia if Simmons continues to be a little bit out of their asking price. Now, as SI.com pointed out, Blackmon missed the final 2 games in 2023 with a shoulder injury, but up to that point, he was playing lights-out defense. In 15 games, he posted career-best tackles, 88, 4 interceptions, 8 passes defended, and 5 TFLs. The interceptions led Indy's defense, and Blackmon was consistent on the field, often acting as the key communicator in the secondary. Oh, and he's also only 26 years old, which fits the mold that Howie Roseman has set in place, at least his free agency, wanting people under the age of 26. It just makes a lot of sense for Philadelphia. Now, whether they sign Blackmon or sign Justin Simmons still seems completely up for debate. There's still a lot of time, though, for the Eagles to go ahead and make a move, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Still, though, the point seems to be clear. Caplain, other people have said the Eagles continue to look to improve the defense. They continue to look to improve the secondary, and whether that's a free agent signing coming in the next couple of days or weeks, whether they wait until training camp, the draft, they get get somebody in the NFL draft? Who knows? But Philadelphia remains very, very vigilant, trying to go out and get a safety, and so if they do make a signing, we'll cover it here on the channel. Now we go from one insider in Caplain to another, and Adam Schefter giving us the latest update on Haason Reddick this morning via 97.5 The Fanatic, his usual Wednesday morning hit. And he did go out and confirm that both sides, they're still working on a deal, and there's no real compromise happening anytime soon in Philly.
Yeah, listen, I think it's no secret that they're open to dealing him. I think at this point in time, it's just a question of if and when somebody's going to step up and give them the right offer. And until they do, they're not going to move him. I think they're determined to get what they want, which wouldn't be an overly amount of compensation, and they're not going to move him until then. And if they don't get it, then you hold on to it, which is, I think he wants a new deal, and I'm sure he'd like to be traded as well. So it's probably in everyone's best interest. It just hasn't happened yet, though. Again, I think all sides are working towards it. The problem in any of these situations, whether it's T. Higgins or Haason Reddick, is there's two parties to compensate. It's the team and the player. And that complicates any deal. Now, sometimes you can get that deal done quickly, but that's always an issue in any one of these trades. Like in all these far-fetched Justin Jefferson trades that don't appear to be happening. You know, you have to compensate the Vikings with a lot, and you have to pay Justin Jefferson a lot. And it's the same here to a lesser extent with Haason Reddick. And so somebody's going to have to pay him and pony up the draft picks.
Now, Schefter was also asked that if no trade was made and Reddick just kind of was an Eagle because he's due $50 million this year, so technically he's still under contract, would he consider holding out of training camp? Listen to this.
No, you can't. The CBA is so restrictive and punitive that players can't hold out. Now, he could show up and his hamstring could be sore. He could show up and his back's bothering him, but he's not. Holding out is the most extreme, ill-advised strategy that a player could have right now. So that I don't believe is a possibility.
I don't see him holding out. Like, I agree with Schefter here, but it is worth noting that he's not going to play for Philadelphia under the current contract. There's no way that Haason Reddick, whether a team wants to trade for him or not, is going to say, you know what, I've waited long enough. I'll just stay with the Eagles and give you guys a hometown discount, because he's been grossly underpaid for a very long time, and father time is ticking. I mean, it's louder and louder and louder, and securing that final bag one more time has got to be priority number one for number 7. And again, there's just no way that he takes the discount and just plays out the final year of his deal. Now, speaking of being underpaid, obviously you have Devin White on a very cheap contract in Philadelphia. Well, he told the media yesterday exactly what Eagle fans can expect from his performance as he looks forward to 2024.
Right now, it ain't been much talks, but, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like, once I get into the defense and learning, you can put me anywhere, and I can go play the game of football. Because at the end of the day, it's still football. And I think that's what you bring in coaches like Coach Vic, is to put guys in position to be great, And I think he'll do a great job, But obviously, before we even get to that, I got to come here and, prove it to, him that I'm worthy enough to be on the field and I can, be his guy or be one of his guys, whatever the case may be. But, I got to start with that process first before I even get into my role and all that. I got to, show that, I deserve to be on the team and be able to be a playmaker for him.
Oh, and you can't tell me this soundbite also from his press conference where he talks about Nakobe Dean and challenging Nakobe Dean and playing alongside him doesn't fire you up for the Eagles' new look linebacker room.
Being able to work with him, I think we could teach each other. We can motivate each other as well, because I think I used to motivate Levante being a younger guy, and he wanted to keep up with me. And now I'm still a young guy, and he's a young guy, and I think we just want to just beat each other. It's just as far as, everything. Beat me to the ball, beat me to the building, work harder than me in the weight room. Like, I'm going to challenge him, and hopefully he's going to challenge me back.
I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Like, White's leadership qualities is exactly what Philadelphia's defense has been lacking, not just this past year, but really at the linebacker spot for a long time. Now, I think it's going to go a long way toward making sure Philadelphia is a lot more accountable on defense and hopefully doesn't make the boneheaded mistakes they've made a lot this past year. Plus, I also think signing him and even drafting a first or second round linebacker like an Edgerrin Cooper could go a long way to pushing Nakobe Dean to be the best version of himself in 2024. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering about the status of Quez Watkins, like he's a free agent, has he signed with anybody? Well, no, as of right now. There have been some teams reportedly checking in on the speedy receiver. Carolina, the Cardinals, Dolphins' name has been thrown around there as well. But if you're wondering if the Eagles could just bring him back on a cheap one-year contract, safe to say it's not going to happen, at least not in his usual number 16, as the Birds confirmed yesterday that new backup quarterback Kenny Pickett will don number 16 in midnight green this year. And while 16 is kind of an odd number, I mean, mean, Pickett has to pick something because 8 is gone, and they gave it to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, which makes a lot more sense because he's an actual starter. Still, though, I just don't see Quez Watkins coming back at all. I don't think Philadelphia needs him. I don't think Devontae Parker's the solution at wide receiver. They might draft one, at least in the later rounds. Keep an eye on that. We'll talk more about that in future shows. But the idea that Quez would come back is not very liked by a lot of Eagle fans, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. And we got a lot more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. No Wednesday Link live tonight. Got stuff with my fiance, so stay tuned for the latest shows happening Thursday, Friday, and into next week. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.